On this episode of the Atlanta Maker, we make a mount so we can keep our settings and notes close at hand. I've recently started taking notes on different cut settings, engrave settings, and other things related to the Glowforge in one of those tiny little notebooks, but I never can seem to find it when I need it. Let's rectify that now. So I use these little field books, or Field Notes is another company that makes them, to take notes on settings, which is why I'm building the little item today, or even just little sketches or ideas as I'm walking about. They're really small, they fit in your pocket, and you can get a pack of 5 of these for about $10. I'll put a link down in the description. This is what I've been taking notes on for settings for the Glowforge, and this is what we're going to be attaching to the machine in a little bit. Alright, so the first thing I did was sketch out a little design and take some measurements so that when I actually get to the design phase in Illustrator, it's nice and simple. It's going to be a U-shaped bottom layer, about 1/4 inch thick, and then we're going to put a solid piece across the top to hold it in there. So let's go ahead and jump to Illustrator and get this design going. Alright, now that we have the sketch done and have our dimensions ready, it's pretty simple to make this in Illustrator. So first thing we want to do is make sure that we are in the right units. I'm going to be using inches, so we go in the document setup, make sure we're on inches there, which we are. And we're going to go ahead and make the top layer first, because that's just a simple rectangle. So we're going to make a rectangle, and we want that one to be 4.5 inches wide by 3.62 inches tall. Alright, so that's great. Let's just kind of move this up a little bit. And then I'm going to make a copy of that, because we're going to need that one. And let's move this down. So the outline for the bottom layer is the same outer dimensions mostly. We're just going to kind of cut a U out for the little booklet to sit into. And the easiest way I found to do that is to make another smaller rectangle on the inside and then subtract that from the bigger rectangle. So let's go back to the rectangle tool. Let's make a new one down here. And the inside rectangle is going to be 3.75 inches wide by 3.25 inches tall. All right. Move that about where we want it here. And then we're going to want to use the align functions here. So we're going to make them centered first and then put the tops together. And now you can kind of see the general shape we have here, but now we need to remove this line. And the easiest way I found to do that is using the Pathfinder tool. Now if you don't have the Pathfinder tool showing, you go up to Window, Pathfinder, and this is a little Pathfinder tool here, and we're going to select the 2 shapes, and we're going to use this one here, which is minus front. And once we do that, if we select off of it, we now have the little U shape. So when we stack those on top of one another with the top part on top of this, it creates a little recess for the booklet to sit into with our settings. Okay, just to make things a little easier, since we're going to be cutting this out of 2 different types of material. The top's going to be medium draft board and the bottom's going to be thick draft board. I'm going to change the color of one of these so that we can ignore it when we're cutting. We can ignore one or the other when we're cutting these out. So to do that, we're going to select the path, go over here and click stroke, and we're just going to pick the red one for now. So now you'll see it's red, and we can export this as an SVG and import it into the Glowforge UI. Alright, well, let's get this file set up in the Glowforge UI, and you can see since we made each of the lines a separate color, they come in separate layers inside the Glowforge UI. We're going to do the top layer first here, so let's go ahead and ignore this layer. And now you can use any materials you'd like with this. I happen to be using the draft board or MDF if you get the non-proof grade stuff. But the important part is that the bottom layer needs to be about 1/4 inch or so to give room for the field book to slip in there. The top layer can be any thickness you'd like. I'm just going to use 1/8 inch or medium draft board just to kind of keep it thin overall. But other than that, you could use acrylic, you could use hardwood, you could use whatever you'd like. I'm just using draft board here. So we're going to cut out this shape, but let's kind of spiff it up a little bit here by, let's add the Atlanta Maker using the built-in tool here for text. Let's change the size a tiny bit. And then let's go ahead, I downloaded a YouTube logo. Let's go ahead and add that too, just for giggles here. All right, so we got them set to engrave those, and then cut out the shape afterwards. And let's go ahead and cut this shape out of the Glowforge, and then we'll follow up, cut out the bottom shape using a 1/4 inch or thick draft board. Alright, so here are the two pieces cut from the laser. I've already taken off most of the masking, but I wanted to show you a quick little trick. You know, the masking inside the O's and all these interior letters and on the tube here doesn't come off without you getting in there and peeling it off with your fingernail, but this was a little trick. I think Josh from Fresh Start Customs has made a video on it, but all you got to do is slide it across and it'll take all those little ones that you couldn't get off with the original pull. Nice and easy. It's really cheap. I think it's 10 bucks or something. You get a bunch of these little plastic razor blades and a couple handles. Alright, so we got our two pieces here. The field book is just going to slide behind there, and we'll put some double-sided tape on here to attach it. So let's go ahead and glue these two together. I suppose you could use double-sided tape here too, but I'm going to use some super glue. This is 2P10. There's also an accelerant you can spray, but I'm just going to use it kind of regular without needing to use the accelerant. Let's get this glued together. I had some trouble with the double-sided tape sticking to the Glowforge, so what I ended up doing was taking some 3M command strips and cutting them down really skinny and attaching them as seen in the photo here. Let's go down and get it attached to the Glowforge. I think this project turned out pretty nice, and as long as I put it back in its slot, I'll never lose it again. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. If you liked the video, hit the like button, and please consider subscribing. It does help us a lot. See you next time.